Was BlackRock, if I remember correctly, originally part of Blackstone? Very good question. They actually were. Founded many moons ago, they were actually the same company. And if we come over, so what is Blackstone? It is a global investment firm that works in alternative asset management. They grow capital for investors, provide financial security for retirees and investors, and contribute overall to economic growth. BlackRock and Blackstone used to be part of the same company, Blackstone Financial Management, which was an acquisition company in 1988. BlackRock did separate from them during that time. BlackRock, owned by Larry Finkelhecker, he has seen the successes of Blackstone and actually expressed interest in mimicking their movements into real estate. So very uncool. Of course, all of this information is publicly available. You can click on all of these links. I make it super easy so that way everything can be referenced because it's not just my words. It's literally their own words. I break down Stephen A. Schwarzman, which, by the way, the CEO of Blackstone, was actually part of Trump's trusted cabinet back in 2016. So for anybody who thinks that, there's a political trend, there isn't. This individual is a lifelong Republican. He has Democrats who work directly under him in higher positions. None of that matters. The politics of any of these people do not matter because their end goal is the same. They wish to control, they wish to be the pinnacles of money, and nobody will own anything and they will like it, whereas only 7 people who run the world will own everything and they will like it. So this individual is not a good person. He has been acknowledged in the top 100 most influential people. He's ranked top 50 in Forbes' list of most powerful people in the world, and is one of Barron's world's best CEOs. These people, like I said, censorship is part of 2 sides of the same coin, but the coin at the end of the day is just the coin of control, which is these crazy individuals who are literally doing terrible things, right? So BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard, they say one thing, they have ESG reports, they tout DEI, and even the Republican-run Blackstone actually has a DEI page on their website, but none of it means anything because, again, if you were truly for DEI, if you truly gave a damn about ESG, which is essentially supposed to be something that is beneficial to the world, right? If you supposedly care about these things and you make it part of your business, why would you oppose legislation that would prevent companies like Blackstone from being able to jack up rent? That doesn't sound very DEI, ESG kind of approved. These companies say one thing, but then they're always acting a different way. Like, this is crazy. This is also the most fascinating part to me. I'm sorry, I'm getting really off. I'm getting too specific on talking about Blackstone right now. But so the University of California, which again, progressive land, progressive university, came under fire in 2023, going against the university's union, which, by the way, progressive unions are typically a good thing. People like unions. The left champions unions. So the University of California, Progressive University of California, went against the union and gave $4.5 billion to Blackstone's real estate trust. And so this is how Blackstone makes its money. Companies, people, groups, universities put money into this real estate trust, and that trust goes towards buying up real estate, which they then jack up the costs of, and all of the profits from the rent get split among investors. You don't have to take my word for it. They actually explain it on their website. That's the only reason why I know about this. I couldn't come up with something like that. Sure, like you could look at it and you could follow it, but they do this. They put that information out there. It's public. So public institutions like the university have come under criticism and question in the recent years for their involvement with private equity business. Keep in mind, the University of California receives money from the government, which they're giving to Blackstone to then buy up homes to jack up rent. Everybody's favorite group, the UN. So the UN, despite all of its poor choices and being touted as kind of shitty by a lot of people, the UN has accused Blackstone. Again, this isn't coming from me. This is literally coming from World News. I link everything. You can go to my pinned stuff under highlights to view this information yourself. This is literally so easy to find. Just highlights. Come down here. I try to pin stuff that's useful. I realize some of the stuff isn't completely useful, but yeah, so here's the Blackstone thing. So if we come back, where was it? Here it is. So the UN is the one, what the fuck? The UN is the one accusing them of contributing to the global housing crisis due to inflating rent and aggressive evictions. Due to the way that they share profits from real estate investments, BlackRock has been accused of charging excessive fees for basic repairs, shrinking affordable housing in many countries, pushing lower to middle income tenants, and I made a typo, of course, from their homes. They naturally are disappointed such an accusation would be made, Blackstone, despite their hundreds of thousands of homes that they own across the globe. And they are still, every single day in America, actively buying up thousands of homes. You can actually probably go somewhere in your local town, look up a real estate group, and probably find ties to either Blackstone, BlackRock, or Vanguard. Blackstone bought up a majority stake in the largest Swedish property manager, upped rent by 42%, and over 3 years bought an additional 5,000 properties, bringing the total to 21,000. I'm sorry, I said 24 before, but it's actually 21. It came under fire from the tenant union, but they got out before anyone could notice what was really going on. Blackstone came in, raised the rent, took the money, and got the hell out. A social democrat MP said, "We aren't used to that in Sweden. We're used to companies like Volvo and IKEA," which Volvo and IKEA are not greedy like that, so they didn't think to do this. They were also fined a lowly $1.5 million for child labor scandals in a company that they directly own. Blackstone, by the way, thank you for the segue back to On Topic. Almost a crime. Report finds Blackstone hiked rent nearly double the market rate. This was posted on August 2nd this year by Danielle Dawson. San Diego, here's another. So this is, again, another really important article. And the reason why I specifically wanted to bring up this one is because it ties into the legislation that they spent millions of dollars to fight that would have actually directly impacted their ability to buy up rental properties and hike it an exorbitant amount. So just to kind of briefly go through this, as county leaders are looking to crack down on private equity firms buying up properties, a new report released on Thursday shedding light onto one corporate landlord that may have contributed to higher housing costs in San Diego. Keep in mind, San Diego is already very expensive. The analysis, which was released by tenant advocacy group Private Equity Stakeholder Project and the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, zooms in on Blackstone Inc., an investment firm who acquired nearly 6,000 local rental units in 2021. This was around the time that they fought the legislation, by the way. Millions of dollars to fight efforts to thwart this. Using real estate data, it found the corporation hiked rent prices of the units it owns in San Diego by an average of 38%, which, by the way, if you remember, falls in line with the 42% that we saw them hike up in Sweden. Or $600, since its acquisition of buildings, nearly double the 20% median rent increase for apartments in the country during the same period. For some Blackstone-owned buildings, including several located in historically low-income areas like San Ysidro and National City, these rent increases went upwards of 80% over a 3-year period. Again, this is low-income areas, but it went up over 80%. These buildings, which previously had an average rent of $1,500 per month, now have a median rent price of over $2,500. Given that there already is such a crisis on affordable housing and that there was such a large number of affordable units, it really is almost a crime. Keep in mind, almost a crime, but it's not, that they are now no longer affordable. Jordan Ash, housing director at the Private Equity Stakeholder Project and lead author on the study, told Fox 5. Fox 5, by the way, is just local reporting. It's not Fox News, the Fox whatever. But, you know, I think everybody can get behind this information. The fact that a Fox brand, a Fox-owned news station is putting this out, talking about something that affects literally everybody, is super important to me. As Ash explained, these units were what is often referred to as naturally occurring affordable housing, or a type of housing, often of lower quality, that reflects a reasonable price for low to middle income renters. They're kind of disappearing. There's not many of them, Ash said, of these below market priced units, noting that this is in part due to corporations acquiring them with the goal of with the goal of renovating to attract higher income renters to turn a greater profit, which, by the way, again, if you remember, this is how Blackstone makes a lot of their money for investors through a fund that they set up that the University of California gave them $4.5 billion for. So the University of California, a very progressive institute, is actively screwing over individuals who would otherwise benefit from cheap and affordable housing, so that way they can make a profit for the university, because guess how much money their top people make? Oh, you're gonna be surprised at that one, I bet. So yeah, you know, it's all connected. Which, by the way, this all still ties back to Blackstone investing into an e-reader manga platform. I hate the world right now. In a statement to Fox 5, Blackstone pointed to renovations and repairs done at nearly 70 buildings it owns in San Diego under ownership as an example of the improvements to living conditions for thousands of San Diego residents who live in our communities. Notice thousands. Thousands of people are desperate to live in a place, not because it's Blackstone owned though, but because they just need a fucking roof over their head. However, the speed at which the rents have been increased to foot the bill of these upgrades, as the report illustrates, have exacerbated the financial burden placed on tenants whose incomes have not been raised at the same rate. We're concerned that the rent increases are aimed at basically forcing people out so that Blackstone can increase the rent even more. Blackstone first came into the San Diego housing market in 2021 when it bought up 66 buildings with 5,800 units from the nonprofit Conrad Prebys Foundation. As the San Diego Union Tribune reported at the time, the acquisition costed roughly $1 billion. How much money do you think they're making now, by the way? How much money do you think they're making now? I bet that Billy came back tenfold, no problem. Anyway, this just further reinforces that, you know, yes, I wrote about Sweden, but this is the most recent thing to come out, and continues to highlight that Blackstone is just evil. They, despite, again, having the DEI and ESG, they directly oppose affordable living that would otherwise benefit the people that they're supposed to be championing through DEI. If you don't act upon what you preach, you are an evil individual. There's just no way about it. At least if you're going to champion DEI, champion it for real. And I genuinely don't believe that fighting legislation to allow for affordable housing and to prevent rent rate hikes in this manner, I don't believe that relates to DEI in the slightest. Like, I am all for people getting their bag, making money, all right? But if you're doing it at the expense of other people in such a manner that you're jacking up rent 40% in places, especially in low-income places, fuck you. All right? Fuck you. There are plenty of ways to make money without doing that.
Me a pick but I'd be fine if something didn't notice me. A chef detective serving up cold facts, yes sir. Got the aggro management on my aggressors. No time for you culture vultures. Too busy looting out my favorite professors. Got that Ukraine dry food, worshiping my waifu.